Now let's just look at this another ex person. This man is a former gay. Former gay man faces possible jail fines after sharing gospel to gospel gospel fines after sharing gospel to God Bible. Do you understand? This man was a former gay, and the story is in Malta. It's in Malta. And when this man became a Christian, and when he became a Christian, when he accepted Jesus Christ as his personal savior and stopped being a gay person, they've decided that they're going to jail him. They're going to jail him. This just happened. This story is just today's story. I want us to be praying that something will happen, a miracle will happen, and he will not be jailed. Let's read the story. An ex-LGBT activist in Malta who reportedly faces potential prison time after sharing his testimony of leaving behind a gay lifestyle to follow Jesus Christ continues to face his years-long court battle. They've jailed him before and he was released, and they want to jail him again. Mark Grich told CBN News he headed back to court July 16, that is 2 days ago, to continue his quest to avoid a potential 5-month jail sentence and fines after being accused of advertising so-called conversion practices. You see, when he became a Christian, he's now telling people about Christ. You see, telling people about Christ, preaching everywhere, doing street preaching and so on, handing out tracts to people and telling them what Jesus Christ has done to him since he left being a gay person, and he's now somebody who is for Christ, and he's just being like Adam and Eve, not Adam and Adam. Do you understand? And the people of Malta are seeing this as he advertising something they call conversion practices. If I've been converted, or if I believe in something, I'm not supposed to advertise what God have done for me. Don't they also, don't Satanist people advertise? Don't Muslims advertise? Don't Baha'is advertise? Don't Hindus advertise? Don't atheists advertise? Why is it that when this ex-gay is advertising, they said they want to jail him? As previously reported, legal problems began when Grich shared his story of living the LGBTQ lifestyle and finding Jesus with a local athlete in Malta. He said, two presenters with PM News Malta wanted to know more about the nation's crackdown on so-called conversion therapy and his take on the matter. Malta in 2016 became the first European Union country to ban attempts to change, repress, or eliminate a person's sexual orientation, gender identity, and or gender expression, leading to fines or even jail time. I read that place again. Malta in 2016 became the first EU country to ban attempts to change, repress, or eliminate a person's sexual orientation. So if somebody is a gay, or somebody is a Muslim, or somebody is an atheist, they are saying that you cannot preach the gospel to the person, because when you do that, it's an attempt to change or repress or eliminate the person's sexual beliefs. If two men want to marry and you tell them that it's not good and they will suffer in the future, they brought a law that you should not do that, to tell them to stop being gays and lesbians. And he has been giving his testimony as a former gay, and they say his testimony is like advertising. So they want to jail him. Matthew Gray said, I was invited to share my story on a program and answer questions about so-called conversion practices. Greg previously told CBN News, and I mentioned an organization that supports men and women who live LGBT, and an organization that promotes a biblical sexuality. And they said they don't understand. They said they don't agree with him. Let's
Gender identity and or gender expression, meaning this quote unquote reparative therapy or any attempt to help somebody who says, hey, I don't want to have these feelings on my gender or my sexual orientation, or hey, I don't want to live this way, that if you assist in that, if you attempt to change those perspectives, that is illegal and that can lead to either fines or jail time. So that's the backdrop here. In 2016, Malta became the first European Union country to do that and to make that illegal. You then got caught in the crossfire. Let's actually talk about that first. How did this first start for you?
Well, it's a good one because it's not the first time that I shared my Christian testimony in Malta. But I would say what was different about this recent interview that I did was that I mentioned an international organization that promotes the biblical point of view with regards to sexuality and gender, and brings together pastoral carers and professionals all across the world to be trained, to be equipped to assist men and women who have unwanted same-sex desires or unwanted gender confusion. And frankly, people deserve the right to seek help voluntarily that is fitting for them, that is right for them, because people want to live according to their values, or maybe they want to resolve conflicts in their marriage or past trauma with abuse. These are very real life cases, and not everybody wants to be LGBT, and people need to understand that. And there's a whole group of people all across the world for whom homosexuality and transgenderism is not a solution, would not bring them fulfillment and happiness. So after I did share what I shared, and it was a really good interview, practical, scientific, spiritual, it was a good all-rounder, I would say. But eventually 3 people reported me to the police, and many of whom are involved with the European Union and also the Maltese government.
So, you go on this interview, you share your story, you mention an organization that helps people. And I find this whole debate so fascinating around this, attempts to change or repress. If somebody doesn't want to live a certain lifestyle, and that's the choice they're making, as you were saying, based on their values, as a pastor or a counselor or somebody trying to help them, these laws actually prevent you from doing that, from helping people who are seeking this help. And you are somebody who has gone through this journey yourself, right? You were, as far as I understand it, you were an LGBTQ activist, essentially. You become a Christian, your life changes. And so because you mentioned that organization, do you think that was the thing that turned this into really this legal battle against you, just that mentioning of the group?
I would say it's a major triggering point. I think the LGBT lobby feels very uneasy with the thought of a body of professionals, a body of serious people across the world who want to organize themselves professionally and be recognized by the state, be recognized by the government. That is very intimidating for them. So I think that was definitely a major player. So yeah, it's just really serious. And right now, the European Commission is actually, there's this whole process where a project is being proposed for bans on conversion therapy to be binding across all EU states. So in Europe, this is really serious right now. And I'm part of X Out Loud, and we're currently working on a very important project, which we'll be able to talk about in the next few weeks to counteract the madness that is going on in Europe right now.
Well, and I'd love to have you back in the next few weeks to talk about that, actually, because what is happening, you have Pavi Räsänen out in Finland, who's a member of parliament, who she was brought up on charges. She's going to fight this all the way to the Supreme Court. They're actually appealing and taking her to the Supreme Court over sharing a Bible verse from Romans on her Twitter feed. I mean, about homosexuality. This has become such a major issue. You have the buffer zone issues with abortion clinics. You have this real restriction on speech and personal stories and the ability to actually share faith, because these are faith issues, right? These are very literally Christian issues that are being restricted by these laws. Now, you were the first person, correct me if I'm wrong, in Malta who was brought up on these types of charges as a result of that 2016 law. Is that correct?
That's right, and I would dare say some of my friends and colleagues would say that it's the first case in the world, because even when I Google it and when I research it, I don't know of another case like mine in the world. So it's probably also that this was an attempt to have a test case to see where this would go in Malta. But interestingly enough, while my proceedings were going on, the Maltese government with the activists was already getting ready to amend the law. And whilst my case was going on, they changed and they added to the law to make the definition of advertising clear, because it wasn't even there in the original law. So if people read the current law, it's not the law that I fall under in my case, because they have already amended the law while my case was going on. So it's intense.
Is the amendment favorable? So if you were being held, would there be charges against you under the current reading of the law, in your opinion?
In my opinion, no. I think we have a very strong case to make, because the Maltese law distinguishes between legal conversion practices and illegal conversion practices. Also, I think it is a very strong point to make that actually even heterosexuality is a protected characteristic, and we don't talk about that. But the law says every combination of these three characteristics, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, none of these three and any combination constitutes a disorder, a disease, or whatever. But that includes heterosexuality. So I believe this is a very important and strong case to make as these proceedings go on.
So you're heading.
There is something he said, and he's saying that the European Union want to pass that law. Do you understand? They all want to come together and pass that law, and that is what they are trying to use against him. Do you understand? It's not only Malta, but the European Union is trying, and this he says that. Let me try and read it. To ban attempts to change, repress, or eliminate a person's sexual orientation, a gender identity, and/or gender expression. That's the European Union. They are trying to bring that law out. They are trying to bring that law out. So please, if you are praying for the European Union, pray that this law should not come. That if a law comes and you see a homosexual and you are telling them about Christ, they are trying to say that you are trying to eliminate their sexual orientation and you are trying to oppress what they believe. Do you understand? You are trying to oppress what they believe. And this is what, and his case is a test case. And the people in the European Union, they are trying to bring out such law. Please, Christian, please, I plead with you, pray for the people in Malta, and pray for Matthew Gaye's case, that he will not be put in jail. Do you understand? And pray that through this Matthew Gaye's case, even lesbians and gays, they will stop and come to Christ. They don't see Christ as their personal savior. They don't see Christ as their personal savior.